Our good friend Michelle Tunno Buelow. Michelle is the founder of Bella Tunno, a baby accessory brand, amazing company, incredible mission. You're going to love her story as well. Also on the board with Fashion and Compassion. I love that name. An organization that helps transform the lives of women at risk in many countries around the globe. And a EY Winning Women Award winner. So welcome back, Michelle.
Thank you.
So great panel. It's going to be a great story. Let's jump into our conversation. And Michelle, why don't we start with you? We'll work our way down.
Okay. Well, my story is not one that I would wish on anyone, but I am very grateful for the lessons that I've learned from owning it, and I appreciate this opportunity. So thank you for this moment. I grew up on a very small dot on a map in western Pennsylvania in a nuclear family, and I had my dad and my mom and my brother and I. And from as young as I can remember, my brother was my hero. He was my person. He was kind and hilarious and witty and smart. And we just had this unbelievable connection, the type of connection that I think all siblings want. I can remember stories where we go on long car rides from Western PA down to Texas, of course in a paneled station wagon, and my brother and I would sit in the back seat and we would play all these word rhyming games to try to get my super religious conservative parents to say swear words. And we would, I remember my first heartbreak, and I would lay in bed and I would cry myself to sleep because my heart was broken, and my brother would hear me from the other room, and he'd come in and he would sit on the floor next to my bed and he would rattle off all the things he hated about the boy that broke my heart. And when he ran out of legitimate things, he'd make up more. I mean, he was my person. We were very, very different. He was artistic, he was musically inclined, he taught himself Jimi Hendrix. I was a cheerleader and very academic. And that didn't matter because we just had this heart connection. So he went off to school, small liberal arts school, studied philosophy. I went to a huge state school, studied business and psychology. And when I graduated, I was on fire to go start my big, important, successful life. I just could not wait to climb that corporate ladder all the way to the top. And for the first 5 to 10 years of my career, that's what I did. I mean, every raise I could grab, every opportunity, I couldn't get high enough. I couldn't get enough gold stars. I remember sleeping on the floor at a project in DC because I wanted to deliver ahead of time. At that same time that I was so committed to what I thought was success, my brother was in this downward spiral of drug addiction. And if you have ever loved a drug addict, you know that that path is one, it's an ugly, ugly journey. And the highs are so high because he gets out of rehab and you think it worked this time. It worked, like we got him back. And then the lows are so low when he flatlines or has to be brought back with paddles or has to go back into rehab. And I remember praying every single night, God, keep him safe. Just keep my brother safe. And on August 5th, 2003, I got that terrible, stereotypical call that my brother was gone. And he wasn't in a hospital somewhere, and he wasn't in a car accident or in a ditch. This time, he was dead. And the whole world went black. Everything stopped. Time and minutes became a torture chamber. And I stayed in this position of darkness for a really long time. I quit my job. I went into a very, very deep depression. And about a year after he died, I had this moment, and I don't know what sparked it, but it was like my heart and my mind woke up at the same time. And I remember thinking, I am going to leave a legacy for him for all that he was, because when people die from drug addiction or something like that, there's this stigma, and that becomes the label. He was a drug addict, and he died because he was a drug addict, but that's not what my brother was. My brother was everything you would want in a good friend of yours. And so I remember that calling just being so heavy on me, and I also remember thinking, I'm going to do everything I can to protect as many families as I can from feeling this pain. So a couple months later, I simultaneously launched the Tunno Make a Difference Fund and Bella Tunno. And Bella Tunno is a baby accessory brand only because I was pregnant at the time. I would have sold tires or toilet paper if that's what it took. I had the will, but not the skill. And I would choose will any day, and I know you all would too. We started selling products, and we made a firm commitment that we'd never sell without giving back to the Tunno Make a Difference Fund. And within the first couple years, we were doing amazing projects. We were putting all kinds of clients through rehab. We were renovating halfway houses and rehab centers. We were adding, it was awesome. It was meaningful and healing work. But there was a huge disconnect with our customer. One, all our work was local in our own backyard, and we were a national brand. Two, our customer was new parents. So they're bringing this new life into the world, and they have every hope and every dream for this child. And we're talking about being a drug addict in recovery and the dark patterns that people go through. And there was a massive disconnect. So I knew there was a problem. I knew my purpose was strong. I knew my purpose was to change lives. I was tasked with this. It was a calling. I just wasn't certain how to share it with my customer in a purposeful way. So what ended up happening, three really powerful things happened in 2014. One, I was introduced to Simon Sinek's teachings and the way that he saw things as inspiring your whole team, and that golden circle and the celery test and all the things that you all probably know really well. And that got me thinking about how I could be more purposeful and inspire my team. Two, I came across some statistics about child hunger in America. I read that 13 million children go to bed hungry every night, and that's 20% of the kids in the U.S. That can't be true, right? I mean, that just can't be true. That haunted me. That stuck with me. I looked at my girls, and I just couldn't even imagine. And then three, I found a research paper that actually linked malnutrition in children to addiction later in life. And I thought, that's it. The dots are all connected now. I can serve my passionate purpose of helping other families not go through the pain we felt, and I can connect the Tunno Make a Difference Fund to a purpose of eliminating child hunger here in America. And so with that, we are just at the point that through the Tunno Make a Difference Fund and all our amazing customers, we've given just shy of 1.8 million meals to kids here in America.
Expand a little bit more about Bella Tunno, how you have integrated purpose into your business model, and how that attracts customers and how that drives revenue.
Sure. So it seems counterintuitive that giving a meal for every product sold would actually increase revenue. You would think that that would really knock down some of our margins, and you would think that that might be a lack of productivity of our team because all of the time that we put into education on bigger social issues. But it has been the single biggest driver of revenue because it does three things. Having this meaningful purpose unites our team. We all now are moving towards something that we equally can be impactful on, and people want to feel like they matter and they help other people matter. We actually once a month go and we volunteer at a school food bank. And nobody misses that. And we started inviting our families, and there's a big group of us, and we wear t-shirts, and we love those people. We hand out the food, and we carry it to their cars, and we interact with them, and we just show them love. And our team is obsessed with that. There's no way we would ever stop doing that. The second thing that having a really meaningful purpose does is it empowers. So we sell through over 100 salespeople around the U.S., and we have turned them into really impassioned storytellers. And the way we do that is every single touch point that we can, we reinforce our purpose. So when we are doing recognition for them, it's not about the number of sales they brought in or the dollars, it's about the number of meals that they donated. And they directly feel that contribution that they're making a living and making a difference at the same time. When we reward them, it's always double bottom line gifts with a greater purpose. So for instance, when we hit 1 million meals, I guess about a year ago, we had a necklace commissioned made by a company out in California that employed homeless people. and that necklace says give, and everyone got that, and everyone wears that, and that's a door to open a conversation about what we do. And I think our sales rep, I know they do, they go in and they talk about the purpose before they even talk about the process, and I think that's really powerful. And in terms of attracting customers, that's the other thing it does. It attracts. And so I remember we came up with 2014, November, we said we're going to do this big initiative, we call it big internally, buy one, give one. And we want our customers to really see the direct impact that their purchase is having. And we thought, how can we do this? And we tried to brainstorm a clever way, knowing that we were going to our first big market in Atlanta. And we bought all kinds of mini pom-poms. And what we decided to do was, for every order someone would place at market, we would count up how many products they ordered, and we would lay the pom-poms out, and we would have this big glass vessel, and they would put the pom-poms that represented the meals their order was donating into the glass vessel, and the hope was we could fill this vessel throughout market. Well, I remember the first customer that came in, and she placed an order, and it totaled up to 204 products, and there we are counting our pom-poms, thinking, why was this the idea? It takes a long time to count 204 pom-poms. And we laid them all out on the table, and we said, here it is. These are the 204 meals that you're giving to children in America by buying our products. And she started crying. And she said, I'm doing that? I'm giving those 204 meals? And we said, yeah, you're doing that. And she was so moved by that she went and must have texted or talked to a bunch of other friends that own boutiques, and within that 4-day market, she sent us at least 3 other customers that placed the orders and couldn't wait to do the pom-poms themselves, because it was this tangible thing that they said, these are the meals that I'm giving. And our customers have just become so loyal and so grateful for the opportunity. And one thing that I guess has really stuck out to me is that if your purpose is shallow, then I feel like your success will be empty. But if your purpose is deep, I can speak from experience that your success feels so meaningful and it's contagious.
Nice.
And that's been really positive.
Well said. Thank you.
My best advice, speaking from my own personal experience, is to really own your own story. I feel like our stories are the most true form of human connection that we can have with each other, and the biggest gift in helping each other heal and succeed and get where we're supposed to be in this life so much more quickly. I feel like our stories are what make us each uniquely qualified to do something big in this world, because we're the only one that's experienced it. And if we really own it and face it and see what motivates us and what hurts us and where the pain comes from, then we become so impassioned to take that forward and to help other people. The other thing that owning your story does sometimes is it gives you that humility and that vulnerability to realize that you need others to make the impact that you want to make on that. It can be really painful, as I think you probably can sense, but that pain is where you find the passion, and the passion is where you find the purpose, and the purpose is where you find the power. And one of my favorite quotes is from Mark Twain, and it says, the 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And I actually wear that on a really beat up bracelet as a reminder of that. And I guess that's my overall ask. I think that it's important to dig deeper than the surface so that you can be successful and have significance in the world at the same time. And I'm just grateful for the lessons I've learned from owning my story that have allowed me to find the purpose in my own pain. One of the reasons that we're working with Target is because we are giving 1 meal to 1 child for every product sold. So that is front and center on all of our packaging. You really can't pick up a piece of our product in any retail environment without understanding that. Having this purpose has led to so many opportunities like Target and like being on Good Morning America and The View and like you were speaking to this, Encore, the opportunities seem to find you because people want to be part of a positive movement, and I think that's exactly what we'll see in Target. I also wanted to make one comment about the time point that was brought up. I agree completely that we all don't have time, so I think it's so powerful if we can intermix the good that we're doing in a work environment, because we don't have time outside of work. We spend 60% of our time working. So if when you're working, you can also be purposefully making a difference, there's no better way. And I think that we've all spoken to the fact that I haven't lost an employee to another competitor or another organization since I started this. Sales are over 100% increase year over year for 3 years in a row since I've started this. You have to make time, because this is what's so important, and we'll see that through all our customers. And the minute that we have a launch pad like a Target and getting to be on Good Morning America, it's just this momentum that keeps building because people want to be part of something meaningful.